Hey everybody, Mickey Truscott here, and today we're talking the updates to Real Plans, which is a AIP meal planning service that now includes resources for core and modified AIP. So if you've heard, there's a really big update to the autoimmune protocol. There is not just one elimination phase, there is now a modified option. And Real Plans is a company that we have partnered with for many, many years to deliver really high quality AIP meal plans, including recipes from my cookbooks, including recipes from the Autoimmune Wellness blog, literally hundreds of recipes for you to customize and make meal plans. And now that service is available to make it completely easy for modified AIP in addition to the original protocol called Core AIP. So today I'm going to give you a little walkthrough about how to use Real Plans and how to use it with both Core and modified. So we're going to log in. And before we get hung up on looking at the meal plan, I'm going to go straight to settings at this gear in the top right corner. And the power of Real Plans is really in how you set up the software to deliver meal plans that are perfectly customized to you and your life schedule and your preferences. So Real Plans first has 3 different meal planning styles, and you're going to want to select the one that is going to work the best for the way that you want to meal plan. So if you're someone who's highly organized, who really wants control over the exact recipes that you eat, or if you're someone who just wants to go with the flow, have some recipes suggested, cook every few days, and not really adhere to a set schedule, Real Plans has a plan for you. So first I'm going to talk about the automated plan. And with the automated plan, Real Plans is going to select recipes based on your dietary preferences and how often you want to cook. There's also a calendar free and a blank calendar plan, which I will talk about later. But for first, we're going to use this automated plan. So before we customize the schedule, I'm going to go into the advanced settings because this is really important to get out of the way. And I'm going to tell Real Plans that I'm cooking for 2 people. Now, you might have an entire family you're cooking for, so that number might be 5 for you. This is really important because Real Plans actually adjusts the quantities of the ingredients in the recipes that you'll be making to accommodate the size of your family and how many meals you need to serve. So tell it how many people you're cooking for, which day of the week you want your calendar to start. I prefer Monday, but you might have a work schedule where maybe you work through Tuesday and then Wednesday is the day that you'd like to start. So you do you. Seasonal recipes, you can choose to have that. I don't know why you wouldn't, because that's the most affordable and nutrient dense. You can also send weekly emails, so Real Plans can remind you when a new meal plan is beginning. And then you can also choose if you're using US or metric equivalents. This is one of my favorite sections where you can choose which equipment you want to use in your kitchen. I have a slow cooker and I have a sous vide, but they're not things that I like to use every single day when I cook my main meals. So I've just selected pressure cooker, food processor, and blender. So let's go back to the diet and schedule and personalizing my schedule section. Now, this is a lot of information and I'm going to walk you guys through it, but this is really going to be what dials in your plan. So what I have chosen to do is I'd like to cook breakfast, and so you can click options and you can tell Real Plans what you'd like to do on every Monday. So you can tell Real Plans simply, I have told it that I just want to cook 6 portions because I want to eat those leftovers for breakfasts on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So personally, I like to cook breakfast twice a week, and then I like to eat those leftovers for the remaining half of the week, roughly. You can really drill down and you can say, actually for breakfast, I just want pork recipes, or I just want a breakfast soup, or I just want a skillet recipe. And so you can drill down on that main ingredient, the active time. Perhaps you only have 30 minutes on Mondays to cook breakfast, or maybe you actually have 2 hours. That's why you're spending the time that day doing your batch cooking. So you can give it a very specific amount of information, or like for me, I'm not giving it a lot of information because I don't really mind. That's a morning that I have a lot of flexibility in my timing to cook. But what is really important that I'm cooking for 6 because my partner and I need 3 days of breakfast. So I'm going to confirm options. I'm going to get leftovers on Tuesdays and on Wednesdays. I'm just going to get those leftovers. And then for dinner, I'm going to eat, I'm actually going to uncheck lunch on Monday because let's say I'm going to eat out that day. Dinner, I'm going to cook for, and the reason is that I like to cook dinner every night and then have leftovers for lunch the next day. Dinner is my unwind cooking time, so I really enjoy cooking dinner every single day. You may not have the time or not want to, so you could actually bump up those portion sizes. For instance, I have 4, so I'm going to be eating it for lunch the next day, but you might do 6 or 8 if you want to eat more. And again, you can hone in on the amount of time you have. You can ask it to just go from your favorite recipes, which we'll talk about later. Or you could even say, on Tuesday nights we eat chicken, so you can select chicken there. So setting this up is going to look completely different. Your setup is going to look completely different from mine, but I have all the leftovers in for lunch, I have all the breakfasts in, and I have all my cooking at dinner. And this is the way that I like it for my meal plan, and so you are going to set this up the way that you want it. Okay, so now that we've personalized the schedule for the automated plan, we've got AIP core elimination, but just to know if you're on modified AIP to select modified, and that will automatically get all the modified recipes in there. The next thing we can do is personalize dietary preferences. So I'm going to click on this. And this has all of the core AIP foods already excluded. So if on the right, you can see egg, dairy, milk, cheese, gluten, soy, all of these things that we avoid in AIP, this is already done for you and it is correct. If you select modified AIP, the similar categorization has been made based on that protocol. Now, say you're doing AIP, but there are some foods that are included in AIP that you just don't like. Say onion. Well, you can search for variants here, and you can say, you know what, I don't like onion, and I don't want onion in any of my recipes. So hit select all, and it will move it all over to the excluded. You can also say, you know what, I really just don't like red onion. For some reason, red onions give me a stomach ache. You can move it over, and then you'll notice that red onion as its own thing is going to be over here. I've already got a couple other things from my demos, so I'm going to move that back and then hit save. Now, similarly, you can go to modified elimination. And if we go to personalized dietary preferences there, you'll see that in the included food groups, there are the foods like rice, sesame, seeds, berry and fruit spices. These are all foods that are not included in core AIP, but they are already included in modified AIP, so you don't need to recreate that. Real Plans is smart and it already knows. But similar to before, you can also find some of these ingredients that you'd rather not eat. Like maybe white rice works for you, but brown rice doesn't. So we're gonna find variants of rice. This is all the variations of rice that you have. So you can select the ones. I happen to know someone who actually has a problem with rice pasta, but not rice. So that's where dried rice pasta might actually come into play. And, if I know anything, it's people have very specific sensitivities to foods. And if this doesn't show you how specific Real Plans is, I'm not sure what else will do that. So you come up with your custom inclusions and exclusions, and what's really great is that when it's time to reintroduce foods, so in the reintroduction process, say we're on modified AIP and we reintroduce egg and egg is working. So guess what? We get to move that over to the included category. It's that easy. So you can see how this part of the software helps you create meal plans that are perfectly customized. I'm going to put that egg back so it doesn't mess me up, and then hit save. So now we're going to get to the fun part, We're going to apply the changes right away, and we are going to deploy a new plan. So what Real Plans is going to do is it's going to take all that information that we just gave it, and it's going to create us a meal plan based on my schedule. Of course, yours is going to be based on your schedule. So I'm cooking breakfast on Monday. I'm eating these leftovers Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday, I'm cooking another breakfast and I'm eating that throughout the week. And you can see how the leftovers picture basically shows that I'm not cooking anything from scratch there. I am simply just eating a leftover of something that I made before. Now you can also see that I'm cooking all of my dinners this week, and I have all of these leftovers already in here. So what's great is that, Real Plans will do this for you every single week. So if you click next, there will be another week with another custom generated meal plan based on your schedule, and it will do that forever until you tell it to give it some different parameters. But what's really nice is this recipe box. If we click up on the upper left-hand corner, these are all of the recipes that Real Plans is using to generate these meal plans, and there are hundreds of recipes. There are recipes from 3 of my cookbooks. There are hundreds of recipes from the Autoimmune Wellness Archives. There are also recipes from the Real Plans database, so there will never be too few recipes, so you can really drill down in ingredients and preferences and add things to your meal plan. All right, so let's talk about how to customize this meal plan. So let's say that, Wednesday, October 2nd, dinner, this quinoa salad for modified AIP, just to be clear, it isn't looking so great. So we're just going to delete that from the meal plan, and it's going to go away from dinner and also lunch. So let's go over to our recipe box and search for a recipe to replace it with. Let's say salmon sounds good, or maybe you have some salmon in your freezer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down, and this salmon and mushroom chowder looks pretty good. So I'm going to hit view. I'm going to look at the recipe. I'm going to say, this looks really nice. And so I'm going to schedule this into the meal plan. Now the date I was looking at is October 2nd, and I'm going to schedule it for dinner, which I am in the way with my screen share, and then I'm going to hit schedule. So now I'm going to go back to the meal planner, and you will see that chowder, wrong week, show up on Wednesday night. Now, so if we'd like to have it for lunch as leftovers, we're just going to drag this over here and say leftovers, and there it is. Now, something important to note, say you click on this recipe and I'm cooking for 2. So since I'm cooking for 2 and having leftovers, I'm cooking for 4. Let's say we want to cook an extra 2 portions of this to put in the freezer, which is something that I often do. I want you to watch the ingredients column as I increase the portions. So I'm going to increase this to 6. See how Real Plans automatically adjusts the amount of ingredients to accommodate the additional portions. So I'm going to say on that night, I actually want to cook 8. Let's say I'm going to go wild. I got lots of salmon in the freezer. I've got a couple whole fillets. I've got a really big pot. I'm going to cook 8 portions, and what I'm going to do is put those extra ones in the freezer. So I've got that all set up. And what happens is Real Plans doesn't then force this to be in your meal plan more. You just have some extra servings that you know you're going to pop in the freezer. So you can see that the automated meal plan, you give it some information and it really goes wild in creating these beautiful meal plans for you based on your specifications. We haven't even really talked that much about the recipe box, which you can use to swap out recipes that you're looking at. You can filter by course. You can filter by main ingredient. So if you have something in the freezer, like maybe somebody in your family is a hunter and you have game meat, you can filter by that. You can also heart and favorite recipes. So then if you indicate that you want to include recipes that are favorited, you can do that. There are tags, there are seasons, there are origins. So you can say, we only want recipes from the Autoimmune Wellness Library, which there are 340 recipes. You can do that. And you can also filter by number of ingredients, carbs per serving, calories per serving, active time, total time, ingredient cost, and cuisine. So you have honestly, too many options to actually dial down and figure out exactly what you want. So now that you can also import recipes and you can edit recipes. So let me show you this. So let's look at the sage braised chicken legs. And let's say you make this recipe and you go, you know what, Mickey, you did not include enough mushrooms. So we're going to hit modify. And we are going to say, let's do 10 ounces of mushrooms. I really love mushrooms, and I'm going to keep making this recipe, and I'm going to make it with 10 ounces of mushrooms. So what's going to happen is you're going to save this recipe. And now, just your Real Plans account, it's going to ask you to kind of check some of these ingredients quantities, which you can confirm. In your account, that recipe will always have extra mushrooms. So if you select this sage braised chicken legs, you will always be making it with extra mushrooms, which is great. See, 10 ounces of cremini mushrooms. So really you can personalize down to the finest details. The other thing is that when we go to the planner, so say you've got your meal plan all set up, we were working on September 30th and onward. Let's say this meal plan is dialed exactly how I want it. We're going to go to the shopping list. And so what you're going to do with the shopping list is there are lots of options, just as there are for meal planning. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is click off all the things that you have in your pantry. So it's likely that you have things like, spices like cinnamon, cloves, pepper, ginger, but leave anything unchecked that you actually need to pick up at the store. If you've got a well-stocked pantry, you might have rice. Again, this is a modified AIP, not a core AIP meal plan. You might also have molasses, honey, vanilla. So these are just going to check these things off your list, but I like to use them as a way to actually physically go into my pantry and check and make sure that I have all of these things so that I am set up to cook my meal plan the following week. And if I'm low on something, I can pick it all back up. So I've got all of these things in my pantry. So then there are going to be other things that, like your produce, your refrigerated, non-refrigerated, your meat and your seafood. I work from my freezer a lot of the time, so things like ground beef, I won't be buying at the store, so I could click off that. And you can also create lists for different grocery stores. So like Whole Foods is somewhere that I shop at, so I can mix and match and make basically two different lists. You can also add things to your grocery list. So add an ingredient, say that you want to have bananas as a snack. We're going to add banana to our list. How many bananas do we want? Let's get 6 bananas. Which category is it? Which store am I going to be getting it at? I've got Natural Grocers, order online, Thrive Market, and Whole Foods. And you can also click always stock. So it's going to generate grocery lists for you just as you would do, if you're doing your own meal plans. And then you can also export these to Instacart and Amazon Fresh, which just makes it really easy for you to get groceries delivered. Okay, so we're going to go back to our planner, you guys. Now are experts in using this automated meal plan, but we still have 2 other meal plans to show you. So I'm going to go, we've been demonstrating modified elimination. I'm going to go to core elimination, and I'm going to change the meal planning style to calendar free. Calendar free are for our more free-spirited, whimsical AIPers, okay? This one has no calendar. This is just someone who wants the next 4 or 5 days planned out with food. They're just going to cook a bunch of food whenever they have available, and they just want the recipes picked out and the shopping lists made. So we're going to select that. Again, just like with the other meal plans, you can personalize your dietary preferences. Right now, I'm just going to do straight AIP core elimination and then view plan. So something that you'll notice that's different is you're kicked over to this page where you kind of get to pick some different plans. And this is because these are meal plans that are just preloaded with 7 to 9 recipes that'll get you maybe 5 or 6 days throughout the week, depending on how many people you're cooking for. So I've made a lot of these recipes preloaded with some of my favorite, or these meal plans preloaded with my favorite recipes. Right now it's September, so I am going to use September. You'll notice there is no calendar here. There's just 9 recipes. These are all from the blog, which is why this is one of the autoimmune wellness plans. But you'll see if we go back to this page, there's some seasonal meal plans. There are meal plans that make lots of leftovers. There's 8 ingredients and less. There's freezer cooking. There's a kid meal plan. There's AIP to feed a crowd. There are some quick recipes. So 8 ingredients or less. Let's actually click on that one. So you can see that these are just preloaded, ready to go. The shopping list is ready. There's no, days and times and leftovers. This is just for the person that says, I just need some recipes. I just need a shopping list. I'm just going to figure out how to integrate this into my life day by day. And so you can just get started. And just like the automated plan, this is also customizable. So let's say you're looking at this Mediterranean salmon and you're like, you know what? I've had a lot of fish lately. I'm just going to X that out of my list. So that's just going to disappear from the list. It's going to disappear from the shopping list. And you can search just like as before. You can search through the recipe library. Let's say you actually want to do some turkey. So I'm going to type in turkey, and it's going to serve us some core AIP turkey recipes. Here's a pressure cooker turkey stew. So I'm going to say, you know what, this looks really good. I'm going to add this to the meal plan, and then the pressure cooker turkey stew is here. Now you'll notice all of these recipes serve 2 people. So this is again going to be based on the household that you set up in settings. But let's say, the sage braised chicken legs, you want to actually make some leftovers. So you're going to go in here and add a couple servings and save that. Again, this is going to update your shopping list. So this is a little bit more of a flexible, whimsical way of meal plan. Again, the shopping list is the same, editable. You can add things, you can export to instant cart, you can click everything off. Oh, and Real Plans has an app. So something that you should also know is that you can export all of this to your phone. You can log into the Real Plans app and you can click everything off as you are purchasing it at the store, which is really handy. So lastly, I'm going to show you the very final meal planning style. So we've talked about the automated meal plan. This is the most popular just because it's always going to be generating new recipes based on your dietary plan. The calendar-free plan, which is a little bit more flexible just for people who want the next 5 or 6 days of food all picked out for them, but they don't really care about which day or time they're cooking. And then for the ultra planners, and I consider myself in this category, we're gonna look at the blank calendar plan. So I'm gonna select that. The blank calendar plan is exactly what it sounds like. You get a blank calendar, and I was in here playing, so we're gonna move on over here. And so you get a blank calendar and you get to put things exactly where you want them and when you want them. So let's say I want a skillet for breakfast. So I'm just going to search skillet. I know there's tons of great breakfast skillets. I'm going to click on this pork skillet with shallots and marjoram. Yum, this is exactly what I want. I'm going to drag it to Monday for breakfast. And then I'm going to drag leftovers for Tuesday and Wednesday. So you can see what I'm doing is basically what the automated plan did, except now I have more of the control in selecting the recipes. So I'm starting with discovering the recipes that I want, and I'm dragging everything in here and I'm rearranging. And every time I drag these leftovers, I want to remind you, so if I click on the rosemary shredded beef skillet, which I have in leftovers twice, the quantity is 6. So if I drag this one more time over here for another leftover meal, now when I click on it, it says 8. So Real Plans is automatically updating that. So if you're someone who really wants to choose, let's say for lunch every day, I want a chicken salad. I'm gonna select that. Here are my options for AIP salads. I'm gonna do chicken Caesar salad. I'm gonna cook it on Monday. I'm gonna have a leftover on Tuesday. So you can actually control the exact recipes that are in your plan. And if you're someone who has the time and wants to do it that way, this is an excellent option for you. And you can also increase, like I said before, I'll show you a chili, because one of my my favorite things to do is to cook extra chili for dinner, so, and for the freezer. So I'm just going to bump this up by a couple portions, and then I'm going to drag it for leftovers. So this automatically has 8 servings. So I've got 3 servings for the first few days, then I'm going to throw a couple in the freezer. So you can create from scratch the meal plan you want. And again, the recipe box, when you click over here, amazing resource for recipe discovery. You can select your ingredients, you can select the source, you can select what type of recipe. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And you can also place things on the meal plan from this page. So like the pressure cooker Moroccan apricot chicken, let's say we want this for dinner in the second half of the week. I'm gonna say schedule this. I'm gonna go to the next week and I'm gonna put it on Thursday for dinner. Schedule. And so if I go back, you'll see it on that meal plan, and it says actually you, oh yeah, there's nothing there yet. So this is a really fun thing. You can get carried away making your beautiful meal plans, and then again, every time you make a change, this shopping list is going to change. All right, so there you guys have it. You know all about Real Plans. You know how to create custom meal plans. You know how to use their automatic meal plan. You know how to use the calendar free plan and the blank calendar plan. I hope that you have all of these inspiration and ideas of how to use this for core and modified AIP. I love Real Plans. It has really changed the way that I meal plan in my own household, and I hope that it is an equally useful tool in yours. Have a good day.